What we're watching happen in the city of Chicago, it didn't happen overnight. Took years of poor leadership. But now it looks like it's finally reaching its boiling point. Because the city of Chicago, they're telling their mayor, Brandon Johnson, no, sir, we reject your plan that will run our city further into the ground. As always, the best way to show your support for the channel is by smashing that thumbs up, hitting that subscribe button, share this video. That way more people see what's really going on. Chicago is facing a massive budget shortfall heading into 2026, over $1 billion. And instead of tightening the belt, City Hall is busy fighting over who gets to keep spending and who gets stuck with the bill.
The chair recognizes Alderman Will Hall.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I stand today unapologetically voting no for this budget. Is that at the end of the day, Chicagoans cannot afford to continue to be used as pawns for agendas that don't make sense. I'm here to say that the 6th Ward is completely against paying for this budget that doesn't make sense. And so what I'm saying to you, Mr. President, is my no is on behalf of the 47,000 people in the 6th Ward that said don't add $1 to my property taxes. Thank you.
Yes, and Mayor Brandon Johnson came in with a plan that looks exactly like what you'd expect from a progressive Democrat. More taxes, more fees, more revenue schemes, including the return of the so-called head tax. But here's where the problem is, it's so obvious. The head tax ignores basic economics. I mean, when you tax a business for having employees, that doesn't really sound like it encourages business growth, does it? Because, well, it doesn't. Companies either slow hiring, which is not good, or eventually leave altogether for more inviting cities. Chicago has already watched businesses walk out the door, and the mayor's answer is to make it more expensive to employ people inside the city. And this is what makes that head tax idea so laughable. I mean, listen, if Chicago was this booming, must-have city where businesses and people were flooding, driving in nonstop economic growth, you could at least understand the argument. But the reality is the exact opposite is what's happening. Businesses aren't rushing to Chicago. They're leaving. Here's the stat people don't like to talk about. 80 of Chicago's 98 neighborhoods, that's 8 out of 10, have lost at least 10% of their businesses over the last decade. And so the response from Johnson isn't to ask why businesses are disappearing or why investment keeps drying up. It's to propose taxing jobs even more, as if somehow it'll help reverse the trend. But this time, the city council said no. A group of aldermen pushed back and passed their own budget, one that rejects the mayor's approach and sends a clear message. We are not running this city further into the ground just to protect bad policy. Now, Johnson is threatening to veto, claiming the council's plan doesn't add up and could force mid-year cuts, and that tells you everything you need to know. Because instead of asking why Chicago is spending so much in the first place, the answer from progressive Democrats is always the same. Find more money. And listen, while businesses are still leaving, somebody still has to pay the bill. So what happens? Homeowners, specifically those on the west and south side of Chicago right now, are getting crushed with skyrocketing property tax increases. Because when businesses disappear, the tax base shrinks. And the bill doesn't magically vanish. It still do. It gets passed directly to the residents. And that's what we're seeing happen in Chicago now. Progressive Democrats don't cut spending first. They tax first. They borrow first. They kick the hard decisions down the road and hope the next administration eats the consequences. But now the bill is due for Johnson. And what you're seeing at City Hall isn't chaos by accident. It's the inevitable result of governing with ideology instead of discipline. And for once, Chicago's political class, at least some of them, are being forced to confront it in public. And here's the part that really matters. This isn't Republicans blocking Brandon Johnson. This isn't conservatives standing in the way. I mean, this is Chicago we're talking about here. This is his own city council, dominated by Democrats, telling him no. Even they are rejecting his proposal. And that tells you something important. Most Chicagoans don't believe Johnson's plan is any good. Chicago is a deep blue city. It has a Democratic governor, a Democratic supermajority culture, and a mayor who is about as progressive as they come. And so when even that political environment says, no, this doesn't work, it's about as clear of a warning sign that anybody could get. Because what people in Chicago are starting to see in real time is how dangerous unchecked progressive ideology can be for a city that's already drowning in debt.
After a rare Saturday city council meeting in Chicago, it looks like the city of Chicago has an approved budget, though a mayoral veto could still happen. This means a city shutdown at the end of the year, if no budget was approved, appears unlikely. Our Marissa Sulik was in council chambers today to walk us through these details. Interesting day over there, Marissa.
It certainly was, Chris. Yeah, this new budget does not include the head tax that would tax large corporations that Mayor Johnson has been pushing for. That has been a big line in the sand for City Council. Mayor's team tells me there should be an answer by Monday if he plans to veto this. If the budget is not signed by December 30th, the city would face an unprecedented shutdown. Mayor Johnson says he agrees with 98% of what's in the plan, but that 2% deeply concerns him, and that's the main focus at this point. City Council chambers were packed with people with a strong opinion on the budget, all coming out for a rare Saturday session. All eyes are on Mayor Brandon Johnson to see if he will sign the final budget or veto it, a move that has not been seen in 40 years when Harold Washington vetoed a budget.
We have the same fight that we have in the 80s. We have the new Verdoliaks trying to come back.
The new fast-moving budget would increase the city's plastic bag tax from 10 to 15 cents, overhaul the tax on off-premise liquor sales, legalize video gambling terminals in Chicago, and sell $1 billion in debt owed to the city for unpaid fines and fees. That last part of the budget doesn't sit well with Mayor Johnson and those who oppose it.
We have heard from our colleagues that selling our debt will result in predatory practices. We know that to be true.
Pat Dowell, handpicked by the mayor to chair council's finance committee, voted for the budget that passed, but says it's not perfect.
And it is a document that can be modified and changed as we go along.
Mayor Johnson's comments on the floor did not mention a veto, rather how this budget could have ramifications on Chicago's poorest communities.
Even though this 1.67% of this budget could have severe consequences on those very people, their fight has not ended because this vote has been taken.
The final budget passed 30 in favor and 18 opposing it. It needed 34 yes votes to block a mayoral veto, which appears unlikely, but still possible.
It's clear that if he vetoes it, this is on him. This is a shutdown, would be totally on him.
A shutdown would be a hard stop. No one can afford for this to happen.
The mayor will either sign this budget or there will be a veto meeting on December 29th. If he does sign it, aldermen say we could see video slot machines up and running in the next 3 to 6 months. The mayor's team has not shared any shutdown plans to the council or the public at this point. Chris.
Okay, Marissa, a lot of moving parts. Thanks for walking through all of it for us.
All right, and so you've seen and you heard that. And so what we're witnessing in Chicago right now is something far more serious than just a bad budget cycle. This is what happens when leadership becomes locked inside an ideology. You see, Brandon Johnson doesn't have the ability to pivot, not because he lacks information, it's there, but because his worldview won't allow it. In his framework, government spending isn't a tool, it's a moral position. Cutting programs isn't seen as discipline, it's seen as betrayal. And that's why he can't get serious about crime either. He views enforcement itself as the problem. That's why he refuses to enforce the laws on illegal migration. In his mind, resistance equals malice and accountability equals cruelty somehow. And so when the money dries up, there's nowhere to turn. He tries shifting the burden onto employers with the job tax, and it went nowhere. He tried reframing the backlash as bigotry, and that didn't stick either. And now, after the city council has passed their own budget, he has no choice but to either go along or veto it, but then receive all the backlash that comes with it. But this is what failure looks like when progressive governance hits local levels. Yeah, it plays well in textbooks and theory. It sounds great on the campaign trail. It'll even win elections. Clearly, it wins elections. But the moment it runs into the real world constraints, payroll, deadlines, credit ratings, pension math, and actual balance sheets, the illusion collapses. Chicago is now caught in a closed loop with no clean exit. Leaders raise taxes to cover shortfalls, investments dry up, the tax base erodes, deficits widen. And the response is always the same. Reach back into the same shrinking pool and squeeze harder. But that cycle doesn't actually fix anything. It only accelerates the decline. Right now, City Hall is flooring the gas while the wheels are spinning in place, then acting shocked when the engine starts to fail. And that's the real loss here. Chicago didn't fall apart because it lacks talent, culture, or potential. No, at least I don't think so. It's a world-class city, I believe, filled with capable people like any other great city and serious opportunity. It fell apart because it's governed as if reality is optional, as if ideology can override basic math. If Chicago stumbles into a shutdown, it won't be a budgeting mistake. No, it will be a visible warning of what happens when belief systems outrank basic arithmetic. Voters are beginning to learn a difficult truth. You can vote for bigger government, but you can't escape the cost of maintaining it. And right now, the margin for error has disappeared. The bills are coming due, and leadership has reached the end of its playbook. But now I want to hear from you. Drop your comments down below. As always, best way to show your support is by smashing the thumbs up, hitting that subscribe button, and sharing this video. That way more people see what's really going on. Until next time.